Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Alliance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com. Thursday night, just about 8 p.m. I've been out here cleaning. Wanted to back the truck out, get some more stuff done, but there's supposed to be more rain coming, and didn't, of course, fittingly. But I was coming back around, and I've had this stuff sitting here in the floor for a long time, and kind of, quite frankly, I want it out of the floor, and that's why we're doing this video. So this goes back quite some time. This stuff came in like late summer. I had to order it online in part. I could never get to the store, and similarly, it was a situation, I believe, the times that I could have, the store was out. So there was a run. There were people that made videos about Icon wrenches and how great they are, and they went viral and everybody started buying them. I didn't, because why? I already had some. Like the stubbies, we've been rocking those for quite some time. Fantastic deals, 20-25% off. Similarly, they're ratcheting wrenches. As you know, big proponent for getting the best that you can. Issue with ratcheting wrenches is there's really not much made in America or Germany or Japan. It's pretty much all Taiwan. Granted, there's stuff made in China, there's cheaper stuff, but so many patents are in Taiwan. That's why you see like ratcheting almost everything. It's not a ratchet. You'll see a heavy concentration coming out of Taiwan. Now, granted, Snap-on is American made as far as I know. That's also like insanely expensive. Similarly, I believe Gador is still doing German ones. The flip side frowny face is they don't do SAE, as best I remember. The other thing, they're like not updated. I'm sure they're robust and are going to last forever and not break, but they're also a far cry from like 72 or 90 tooth box ends that you're seeing on pretty much anything in the last 15 years. So needless to say, I cashed in. I didn't get to do it quite the way I would have wanted, but it panned out okay for us. So what did we do? Well, right here, this is an absolute honker of a set. It is Icon's WCS 14. There's a 5-digit number I can find somewhere for you. 64710. That's probably what you need to go by. This is, interestingly, it's something we've not had. Like, I've never had just a plain Jane, regular sized Icon wrench. I've had the stubbies, we've had the ratcheters, stubby and standard, but we've not had just the plain wrench. And this is going to be, again, what they call a professional combo wrench set. I want you to just look at the scope of that. Super nice there, but we're going 1/4 to 1 inch, no skip sizing, and of course 15/16, everything in the middle, like my bread and butter, 7/16, 13/16, and automotive stuff. And you're thinking like, well, what are you going to do with this? Like, is it to test? Is it to compare? Here's the deal. The price point on this, believe it or not, well, let me make sure I don't get the wrong one. All right, yeah, $59. $59, $60. We'll just go with 60 for 14 wrenches. That's less than $10 a wrench. You think, oh, well, that would be less anyway. Little dinky thing. Well, you get up over here like 3/4 and up, even Harbor Freight pricing, like 15/16 and up. You might say 3/4 and up. Some of you might say like, well, man, like you can't get virtually anything 7/16, half, 9/16, honey hole sizes, $10 or under. Like that's a legit deal, and that's why it's here. And I'm kind of torn. I actually bought 2 of these, and what I had in mind, and I'm not sure how far, to what extent we'll go, it's going to be a road set, and I'm excited about it. So what I would typically do, of course, I love right? I love Stavilla. I like Hazet. I don't really want to lose those. When I say road, I don't mean like I'm going out in the field and going to service and fix stuff. No, I mean like if bad things happen, right? I'm doing a drag and drive event, or I'm just cruising the country, whatever it might be. We throw a belt, the alternator takes a dive. This is there with me. If I lose the 9/16 and the ½ inch on the side of the road, it sucks. I'm really sad. But it came from a set that was 14 pieces that cost me $60. It's a win. Similarly, I would have complained about how, well, this is screwed up. I can't Because again, it's not like I can walk in the store with a, lost 1/2-inch wrench and say, replace it. I don't have it. It's gone. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere like mile marker 310 in Mississippi or something, right? So, if we're lucky. What I'm getting at, with this setup, the way Icon and Harbor Freight has responded to criticism, or maybe they had it planned out all along, you can now go in and you can get standalones. Last time I looked into it, you had to have like proof of purchase. Don't hold me to that. It could change. But the bottom line is, if I lost the 1/2 and the 9/16, and I'm like, man, those are like my most used sizes, I gotta have them. I don't have to go and find a one-off somewhere like an on AutoZone or O'Reilly's, or hit up KC Tool and get like a Hayco thrown in or something. I can actually get this, build the set back out, and be content with it. So lots to be happy about on that front. So this is smooth job, right? That's why this was $59. If I'm thinking back again, this stuff was like in July, August, somewhere in there, maybe earlier. I think it took a long time for them to come back in and ship to me. Luckily the order wasn't canceled, but I bought 2 of these, and I'm kind of thinking the truck will just have a perma set, right? The truck's sort of a hybrid, old school SAE, but there's also some new stuff on the Magnum, driveline that's metric. So it's a terrible setup because you got to have multiple tool sets. You come in, if you're doing LXLC stuff, you get by with metric. If you're, 6674, I don't need metric, I just need this. But the truck, it's kind of a hybrid over. But I'm thinking 1 set truck, and then I'm thinking 1 set old car, like in a bag. But I'd love to have it set up where I don't ever have to think like, oh geez, I had moved the tools over here because we ran to the track last week, I've got to switch them and I forgot. It would be awesome to have comprehensive sets in both, but I'm also thinking to keep the weight down there. Like the truck, I'm fine. If I'm in the truck, I'm probably, helping people, doing stuff for my sister, buddy call, whatever, right? I'm fine having heavy freaking wrench sets in the truck. And the cars, it's like, man, if I'm never going to use, a 1-inch wrench, well, I shouldn't have it with me. If I'm never going to use an 11/32, I shouldn't have it with me. So I'm still kind of on the fence, and I'm also debating putting the second set in the US General, the roll cart in this case, the Master Tech, full bank, whatever you want to call it. I just moved some stuff out. I'm kind of trying to like visualize it. The saddest thing is, man, the setup I have in there now, as much as I don't like plastic trays, I kind of in this situation dig them, because I've got my ratcheting wrench set, SAE and metric, and then the stubbies, and they nest perfect. Like it's awesome. I don't know what this is going to do, how bad it's going to throw it off, if it'll fit beautifully side by side. I'll have to play around and figure it out. But this is what I did. I'm not going to lie, I kind of would have liked for this to have been the anti-slip, just because my ratcheting wrenches are smooth, right? Didn't work out, but again, at this price point, it's like when KC Tool or DRPD has like a deal. I'm like, oh snap, this is one of those deals. And I'm by no means advocating that this is the greatest wrench set in the world, but I am 100% telling you, like, that's a pretty freaking good deal. And I'm sure tons of you jumped on that. If you did, what did you pick up? What are your plans with it? Is it just like to test? Is it your daily driver at work? Did you gift them? Whatever it might be, feel free to leave your thoughts. But again, 1/4 to 1 inch, you've stood here and stared at the sizes. I'm going to come in now. I kind of alluded to this with the truck. Icon's WCAM 14, or if you go with a 64712, you got this. And you're like, what is this? Boom, 14-piece metric set. Considerably lighter, in my opinion. But we're running 6 to 19, so you're not getting like anything crazy jumbo, hence the weight difference, in my opinion. It is what it is, man. The catch with these, if I spin this back, and you can't see any of that, unfortunately. Let me just untripod you. All right. Right here, the SAE in the red tray. I wish I could control, select, modify the colors. I can't. This is what they chose to do. It's what you're stuck with. But you're going to see this is the Icon Professional Combination Wrench Set in SAE. This looks almost identical minus the fine print, anti-slip grip. Now, what's sad about that is, again, in my metric ratcheting wrenches, I wound up with the anti-slip. I don't remember if I wanted to compare it to the SAE or if it was the really good, like, 20-25% deal, and that's what was there. But either way, that's what I have, so this is sort of redundant. If I had to pick one or the other, especially in kind of like the Icon line, I would go smooth, because I'm not going to mar the finish on something, right? Well, that's just my take. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me open this. I'm also not going to fumble the box around and showcase the packaging and neat things on it with the wrenches in there. That's cumbersome and stupid, and we've kind of covered similar products before. So what I'm going to do is get this stuff unpacked. The cool thing here, right, you've got access to it. You can kind of get a feel for the wrenches. There's no like plastic lid here. But I'll go ahead and get this out, try to get them oriented in frame a little better for you. And we'll take a look at each wrench, compare and contrast, maybe test fit some stuff. And most importantly for me, not that you care, but my floor is going to be clean. I've got these like slid up underneath the duster a little bit where you can kind of trip on them. And, no more. I'm going to get them out of my way, test fit them, and just, like I said, make some progress, because they've been here for months. So give me 1 second. We'll be back and take a more detailed look. Alright, so let's take a look here. SAE first. You can see premium storage tray included again. Most space efficient, not necessarily, but not terrible. And again, if you want to customize that, you can toss it, keep it, mold it, whatever. Tough, durable, polished chrome finish prevents corrosion and grease buildup. Again, with the Icon wrenches I've had, can't quite tell you how long I've had them. Decent amount of time. Haven't really had any issues, and that's a good thing. They don't suck. If they sucked, I'd tell you. So far, so good. Slim profile design for optimal comfort and grip. Again, right here, this is smooth jawed in this SAE set. Precision machine for a perfect fit on all fasteners, giving you maximum torque without slippage. Polished chrome finish offers superior rust and corrosion resistance. Again, boxed end on these is 12 point. That is what I would want, particularly if these do wind up on the road. Precision 12 point box end allows easy fastener engagement without slippage and prevents round off. Angled open end, balance handle, 15-degree offset, kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. Lifetime guarantee, again, 64710, made in Taiwan. This is something cool. Again, I brag about this every time, and any manufacturer, whatever they may be. Super cheap jungle store from China. Harbor Freight, Lowe's, Home Depot, KC Tool, German, Japanese, American, whatever. This is actually useful, particularly if you've got a specific application and task at hand and you're like, hey, that's awesome. I've got the OAL right here on the back of the box. I don't have to bother an associate, go post up on a forum trying to get measurements. It's just right there for me. So again, 1/4 to 1. The 1/4 is going to be 5 1/8. The 1 inch is going to be a full 14 inches. Kind of some happy, frequently used sizes. It looks like 3/4. If I can trace correctly, is like 11 7/8. We'll just call it just about 12 incher. 9/16. Again, if I'm reading it correctly, 9 5/8. Take it with a grain of salt. Freeze frame it, screenshot it, whatever you need to do. Those are your dimensions. Now, for something more exciting, it is the SAE wrenches. Again, for $60, I don't really know how you can complain short of these failing and rounding off every fastener. I assume if they were going to do that, they would have happened already with what I've got. I also won't lie, I have probably used the stubbies more than the standard ratcheting wrenches. The reason for that, stubbies, they're just more convenient. I don't have any, like I don't have a German equivalent. I've got my little SK set, but they're not ratcheting. I've used the snot out of the stubbies and they've been pretty dadgum good. But right here, we'll just grab 9/16, all right? There is the luster of the wrench for your appreciation or denial. Again, I will be the first to admit, while it's nice to look at and visual and everything, I prefer matte finish. I prefer textured grip. All right. Wright's industrial finishes, matte chrome, Stavilla, Hazet, Gedor, they all do it. It's just a personal preference. I get it. This appeals to a wider audience. You know, people, ooh, shiny, you know, nice. But for me, if that would have been an option, if you could get like full polished chrome or something versus matte industrial, I'm the matte industrial guy. Plus, it's probably going to be significantly cheaper too. So it's a win across the board. The only thing that would suck is black finish. While I think it looks awesome, I would not want that for something that I plan to use on like the side of the road in the event of like something bad happening. It's just that much easier to lose it. Outside of that, if it was a controlled setting, bring it on. I'll take my $30 and go to the bank with a wrench I like better. That said, 9/16. I love what they did there. You got your size stamps on both sides. If I flip this over, I also like that it's mirrored, meaning it's not offset, it's nothing funky. You've got your standalone part number. Again, should you shear this thing off, you put a wrench extender on it, bend it, you heated it, you know, in a pinch and kind of made a tool, and you're like, man, I really need like a fixed 9/16. You come in, you've got your part number, hopefully still legible, and you can go to town. That is fairly deep, so it's not like it's laser etched and going to come off or anything. It feels okay in hand out. I'm using the bare hand as opposed to the gloved hand, but yeah, I mean, if possible, I'm on a box end. If not, and it's tight quarters, I tend to come up here, and you know, it's not my favorite thing, but again, it was $60, and it's going to open up some possibilities for me. So if you want my usual detail, again, I've kind of covered the icon wrenches. We're going to call this tray. It is a funky shape, so if we consider that it sort of tapers down, it's about 15 inches. Wide. In terms of your length here, we're going to call it just a shade over 12, and then the height, which could be very important for some of you, we'll call it like 2 1/8, just to be a little safe. Luckily, the 1 inch does tuck in the confines of this. That would really suck if it tapered up in that manner. But that is the SAE set in a nutshell. Again, we'll just grab 15/16 here, get you a bigger wrench to look at. If you want to ink fill those sizes, whatever you want to do, throw them in a, you know, Wrench setup where you've either got like a grab and go gripper, or if you want to just line them out in your box, go to town. Speaking of that, we're going to test fit those Uno Momento, but first we've got to get the metric. And metric time. So let's read everything. Just kidding, we're not. But I do want to highlight this. When we had the box end on the SAE, we had this exact same verbiage. However, it said angled open end allows easier work in tight spaces. Obviously, profile hasn't changed as best I know, but this is what's different. You'll note the cavity here. Anti-slip open end for extra gripping power. And right there, it actually does maintain angled open end, so they just moved a bullet point. Everything else pretty much identical, minus, you guessed it, my favorite little chart here. So, again, we're going 6 all the way to 19. The 19 mil is a full-on 11 inches. In comparison, the 1 inch is 14. We don't see an 11-inch wrench until we get to, man, I might say 11/16 is 11 inches solid. We'll do a direct comparison here. Those lines don't necessarily line up real well when you're in the middle of the pack. But just to kind of give you a rough idea, it looks like the 10 is going to be 6 3/4. Again, the 19 a full-on 11 inches. Freeze that, save it, take a picture, whatever you need to do. Then you don't have to fumble around in store. But let's see here. The 11-inch wrench is a 19. And I'm going to map this out with my finger, and it looks like it is the 11/16. So that's very close to 3/4, and we're just going to run with it. Before we do that, I want to highlight this. The tray itself, ever so slightly smaller of a footprint. All right, let's go ahead and do that since we'll have to lift off. I believe that thing was like 15. This is about 14, so I've got like a 1/2 inch on the base. It stacks beautifully for what it's worth. The other one was like dead on 12. This is about 11, again 1/2 inch on both sides. The height, it might actually be a little, it is. I'd say it's about 1.5 inches instead of 2 inches. So 19 mil does not transfer over to 1 inch. It's a smaller wrench, right? So that's why this is a lighter set. It's significantly less in terms of the contents of size capability. But we'll go ahead and grab that 19 just to highlight this, and maybe I can shimmy it this way. If we traced our lines correctly, which we may not have. 11/16 is an 11 inch. This is an 11 inch. So 19, I would usually pair that with 3/4, but it is what it is. Let's just line these up end to end here. It's kind of strange because, again, you can see the 19 is bigger, but pretty sure that was what they had advertised. I would say the 19 is a smidge longer, and that's going to make me just do what we probably should have done and go with our gut comparison and grab the 3/4. Again, they basically interchange, you know, if you're throwing wrenches or sockets down. And I will say that's much closer than the 11/16. The great thing about this comparison, it's not just, you know, like, oh hey, they're very consistent, that's good. It's the open end. Everything about these wrenches is identical, minus the open end. And the open end here, very easy to see the teeth and the jaws of this metric 19 versus the smooth jaws of our 3/4 inch. So again, that's going to be your anti-slip. Again, nothing wrong with that, particularly, you know, depending on what you're doing. If I had to pick one of these, and it was going to be like my main wrench set, you know, or like my upgraded main wrench set, I would go smooth jaw just because of what I do. You know, here I do a lot of like decorative polished fasteners and everything. I would not want marks in that. Similarly at work even, I think I would probably opt for the smooth jaw, and then maybe instead of this, you know, if I'm concerned about, you know, really gripping down on some gnarly fasteners that are mangled, might just go with like an RBRT option. But again, $59 for the SAE set, the metric one. I cannot recall, again, this was months ago, you'll have to forgive me. It was $69. I don't remember if it was just a $10 jump because of the anti-slip, or if it was just metric versus SAE. Some of you may remember, again, I'm sure at the time I knew, but it's been months. This obviously wasn't like a super high priority for me, but that is it. These seem pretty decent. Again, my metric set, I've not had issues. That said, again, the full size, I don't really use a ton. In part, I'm using my other wrenches when I'm here in the house, right? Like I've got Stavilla, I've got a lot of options, and I love that. And simply, unless I'm just only in the cart, they don't get the call. I do interchange, but again, I found that the stubbies seem to be what I kind of lean to in the Icon line. So again, in terms of stacking, this is a beautiful setup. Your overall height, especially again if you think of like a US General Master Tech, you're coming in around 4 inches, which is awesome. I'm going to take you now to the US General Master Tech. I'm going to show you what we currently have laid out, which is by no means the most efficient way to do things, but it's very functional. So 1 second, I'll take you over there, and then we'll kind of play with how these might nest. All right, you ready? Here we go. Not much has changed, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you. You will note one of these things is not like the others, and you're thinking like, okay, well, that makes no sense. I can't quite piece it. Is it your stupid green and blue? Ignore that. That was me playing around. I can always change it back. If you have a keen eye, and I'll admit I know exactly what it is, but it's very hard to tell that. Does it look different to you? Is there a glare in the middle that makes no sense? That is a plastic lid. I keep the plastic lid on the 3 stubbies, and I have very good reason for it. It's not because I'm kicking up tons of dust. I don't like grind by this, and if I don't have them on there, I just dump, you know, ceramic dust in there. It's not body shop shag, and it's nothing. I have a very good reason. When I open this drawer, this is what I typically have going on, okay? This funky little Easy Red thing holds some Tecton angled wrenches, okay? The SAE are on a clip up top under the lid, but these usually sit right there. They don't pick up the wrenches when the plastic lid is on. If the plastic lid is not on, they pick up the other wrenches, which is stupid annoying. Some of you have already noted, like, wait, this is terrible. I mean, it looks pretty good. I see what you mean. Not the most efficient, but you're thinking like, okay, metric, black ratcheting, red SAE ratcheting, stubby, stubby, stubby. Wait, 2 sets of stubby metric. Why? Correct. They're ratcheting. So you're thinking like, whoa, 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 wait, Mr. SAE. Where on earth are your ratcheting stubbies? You said you use them the most. Well, if I can painstakingly do this, this is the other reason that this is going to end badly. Oh, man. So that's the other reason that I keep the plastic lids on. I can slide that around easier. These never have the plastic lids, the full-size wrenches, but the stubbies do. There's a third reason. I think I've covered this in a video, but we're going to do it again. In fact, let me just make my life so much easier by going back to my default setup here. This. Let's say that I had the SAE Tray right here. Okay, it's hard to do left-handed. I'm going to show you the magic that happens here. Yeah, do you see what we did there? Okay, not gonna lie, I might actually have the plain Jane stubbies on top of the ratcheting if I did stack all the time, because I'm more likely to need the fixed wrench, box end, bigger size selection. Those stack. These also stack. They like, I could literally put these on top and they will shut. Okay, it's a beautiful, beautiful little setup there. The other thing that I love so much, aside from our spray foam trays, actually, you're like, man, if I pick mine up like that, it falls apart. Remember, we spray foamed ours. That's why. I'm not special. I don't have a great left hand, or just get really lucky. It's the spray foam. Here's what's sad, right? Like, number one, yes, it's so close to being perfect, it just doesn't quite fit the SAE setup. Now, if I put those back in their plastic tray, I could stack them. I would actually not stack them. I would stack the metric and then, you know, have the SAEs laid out. But you're thinking like, we'll go to another drawer. That is an option. Some of you, especially if you're heavily invested in the Icon line, might be like, I know how you solve this. You get more Icon wrenches and you have a metric drawer and an SAE drawer. That really is the most efficient way to do it. I wish I wasn't wasting like half the space. Like, literally, if I had the exact same wrench sets, SAE and metric from Icon, in a US General Mastertech, they stack too high. And yes, if you have SAE on the top and then you get a buddy that brings by a 71 Roadrunner with a 3rd gen Hemi, you got to dig them out, right? You got to pull your SAE, get to the metric wrenches. But if you're bread and butter, if you 90% of the time are in SAE land, it could be something worth considering. Now, painstakingly, I'm going to attempt to get these. You know what? I'm just gonna yeah, well, we're doing pretty good. Hopefully, if you saw what they were balancing on, you would feel very uneasy right now. But here's what we can do. I can come in here and I can go to SAEville, and you're like, yeah, just throw that down. And then basically, especially if we put the lid and foamed this, I can just kind of shift this to the side if I need to grab a metric wrench, right? It kind of occludes it though. This is what I wanted to see. If your thoughts were, dude, I know exactly how you solve that. Just make the SAE and the metric drawer, which I agree is a great idea. Here's the problem. If I come in over here, okay, and this is my standard go-to thing, I might be able to fit the standard stubbies above it. However, if you're thinking like, oh dude, that's perfect, put your ratcheting wrenches on the side together too. Pay attention. Slide it over the top. We're that close to having it happen. It is such a shame. And the thing is, I know some of you are screaming like, get them out of the tray. Get those out of the, like, you know, just use your Ernst stuff. It's going to be home free. Number one, Ernst. We really need the orange wrench rack, but past that, look how close it is to actually functioning. It would just that freaking close. If this was like, if this stopped at 3/4, I feel like it would probably nest together but alas, it doesn't. So some of you are like, well, okay, hey, get your like standard wrenches together. And if you're thinking like that's not going to shut, it kind of does. Again, this one is tall. It's because of the big wrenches, 13/16 and up, okay? If we're flirting with disaster, this is a heavy set, but the cardboard does help. If I grab the metric wrenches, which are much lighter and more compact, okay? This is just strictly a drawer close to show you. The SAE is 100% going to close, right? It just kind of drags. It's that close. The metric has 0 issues. Stack it on up, man. So right here, you're thinking like, oh, that's not a bad setup here. Well, if I can one-hand this, look how close we are to being able to nest those, okay? We're like right dangling above the 18 mil. It's unfortunate. If you're thinking like, well, scoot it to the side, buddy. This just doesn't work as well. It's not foamed. It's like the same thing. Not quite as bad, but basically the same. We're that close to having just wrench drawer perfection. So I've got some finagling to do. I think I know exactly what I'm going to do, but I don't want to tell you what it is because it may not work, and we'll save that for a tour someday. But if you're sitting there and you're like, you're probably not like me, you probably do late model stuff, and it's probably metric, but you've got that one buddy, all right? Everyone else has an LS1, you know, everyone else is driving a Coyote or, you know, like a late model 5.0, but no, you got that one guy in your friend group. He's got the 289 Mustang, or, you know, you got the buddy swing by and he's got like the old 455, and it's like, you just have to be that guy, don't you, Gary? Put the stuff down, stack it, go to town, right? So, yeah, bottom line, these may very well go in here. I don't know. Fixed wrenches, you're like, I can't believe you don't have fixed wrenches in here. We do, they're just on the lid, and that is SAE only. It's a weird combination of Half Moon, a couple Tecton angle heads, and then some Gador number 7s, oddly enough. But always looking for ways to kind of tweak and optimize this. And it's, not gonna lie, very, very tempting to just have the Icon lineup in here. Again, I might look into dimensions on some of the stuff and see if like maybe some flex head wrenches or something, you know, would nest and complement this. I would have to make some significant changes to free up another drawer. But it is what it is. This cart is interesting. I've dubbed it the Koken cart. There is a lot of Koken in it. There's a good bit of Harbor Freight in it. Initially, it was just going to be like sort of like a cheap deal, right? Mainly impact related, and it's just kind of evolved over time. And I've throughout the years, like I've gradually like recorded clip after clip. I don't know that I'll ever put them together because it would be a nightmare. But like the evolution of this thing, which is still, as you can see, going. It's interesting, but yeah, I will leave it at this for now. Again, I wish those things nested. I will do the obvious here, and you could potentially, you know, like, that's just so good. Sizes, the flow, ascension, everything. I guess you could nest it that way, but then the problem is you're thinking like, yeah, you got your full size, just do that and then flip the ratcheting over there is what I do. I would agree with that, but here's what we'd run into. This wasted space. We don't have space to nest a stubby set. It's so terribly close to being everything you would want, but it's not quite there. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on, take up more of your time here, but I gotta tell you, that was a heck of a deal. $59, $69 for these wrench sets respectively. The scopes of the sets, 14 pieces in each one, kind of insane. Yeah, I know it's Harbor Freight, sure it's Icon, but that's a pretty solid buy. Again, Icon kind of tends to be hit and miss for people. But there's things they do well, there's things that they do decent, and there's things that you can cash in on a really good buy, and it's sort of less of an issue, you know, like performance-wise. If I had to guess, like this 1/2 inch might have been used the most, at least in terms of the SAE. There's really like nothing wrong. Yeah. The ratchet mechanism, if you can hear that over here, again, I don't have the tripod with me, I'm sure you can tell, but they've been decent, and I don't have complaints, and again, especially with ratcheting was my logic. But with these, again, road sets, and possibly here, and just have like a full complement of standard wrenches. I will say, to Icon's credit, they don't really have like a standard size. They've got the stubby, and then they've sort of got like extra long, right? Not ridiculously long, but sort of like more professional length. If you were to compare these, let's just, geez, I'll get the big one for you. This little Gador, this is the 3/4, all right? You get the idea, right? It's the extra little bit of length. Now, if they did have a standard, if they did, it would nest. And that's kind of what you're left with. I sort of get why Harbor Freight would do that. Pittsburgh, Quinn kind of nest in there. Maybe at some point they release Icon standard lengths. But to have the stubby and the professional length, not a bad strategy. So on that note, we'll flip this, and are you ready? Don't know how similar metals will sound. You're welcome. Not much of a musician, but I try. And, on that front, I'm going to go, I'll play around with this. You'll probably see it eventually. And again, I don't know if this is all just going to get rolled up, bagged up, thrown in a bucket. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we have another set of each of those. It was just insanely a good deal. And like I said, for that price, it's kind of hard to go wrong. So, and that's something else you have to factor into that deal, or with any Icon full-size wrench, they're extra long, like a little extra professional length, if you will. So if I could get you a better angle here, I would, but we're right up against a argon bottle, and there's not much I can do about it. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed. I want to know from you, if you picked these up on the deal, what are you doing with them? How do you like them? Maybe they became your go-to wrenches. You just like, you know what, I'm going to try them out, see how they do. How have they done? Do they suck? Are they amazing? Are they okay? Do you like them fine, but you sort of prefer brand X or Y, or what you were using previously? Similarly, I'm sure someone had to have the same mindset as me, like, hey, you know, that's not a bad price for a big set of wrenches. I could throw them in the truck. I could, you know, throw them in the RV or the camper or the race trailer or something, and have like a full dedicated backup set. For some of you, it might be just, this is your backup set. You've got your really nice fancy wrenches, and you'd been rocking your old Craftsman or some Huskies or Cobalts, and this came up, and you're like, that's a good deal. That's going to be my backup set. Whatever it might be, feel free to leave your thoughts down below. Again, end goal simply to help people out. I might have to play around with this a little bit, and that might dictate if I want these here, or they're just going to go in a mobile set. But with that said, you know the drill. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do that. If you subscribe, you ring the bell, you jump your Charger across the creek, crash down, break a K-member in half. Have to call Cooter, and he doesn't have wrenches, but you've got your full Icon wrench set that you picked up for $59.99 on sale. YouTube just might notify you that we got brand new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, thanks again for watching, and I hope I catch you back here for more from the shop.